Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna get ready to go on a date. I'm gonna moisturize. So whatever's left in this bottle, I'm gonna use for dinner. We're gonna go to Olive Garden. Okay, the serious part is over. I can talk now. Anyways, let me tell y'all about the tea. So we are going on a date. We are going to Olive Garden. I don't like Italian. I don't know. It's not my favorite dish. And my boyfriend, he's been wanting Olive Garden since we started dating. Y pues a mí no me gusta. So I'm like, no, babe, like, not that I say not, like, next time. So then I kept on telling him, I was like, no, next time. He's like, the next time never comes. He's like, yeah, we always go where you want. Which, I mean, yes, we do. So then I was like, all right, like, I pinky promise, like, our next date, we'll go to Olive Garden. And he's like, okay. So that's where we're going. I've actually been on TikTok. Like, I've been TikToking plates that I can get from Olive Garden. We were actually on the menu last night. And I've seen, like, because they have pictures. I don't know if the actual menu on Olive Garden does have pictures. But I was looking on their online menu. And I seen that they have steak. So then I was like, I can get steak if I really don't like anything doesn't look appetizing. Hopefully I like it. I really want to like it because, okay, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. So I've been to Olive Garden before. I went a few years ago, like more than 5 years ago. That time I was with a whole different person and I went in there furious. I was mad. I was always mad for one in that relationship, but I didn't know why I was mad that particular day. Girl, when I tell you I was furious, I mean, like, I wasn't even hungry. Of course, I don't know if he made me mad before the restaurant. I was just mad. So by the time my food came out, but the food I even sat, I'm guessing it was before because I didn't remember the menu. So I didn't enjoy my food. I didn't even remember what I ordered. I remember eating salad and that's it. I don't even remember eating like an actual like dish de lo enojada que estaba. But I mean, I'm willing to try it again. That's what I'm saying. Like, we're going on a date with my amazing boyfriend. I'll tell you guys how we met or how we even started talking. So my boyfriend and I went to school together. We knew of each other. We just didn't hang around each other because he was a grade under me. So I was a senior when he was a junior, right? So even before that, no, that's when it happened. So whenever I was in high school, so I had a boyfriend since junior year in high school all the way to my senior year in high school. So I had a boyfriend throughout my high school years, which I do regret, but that's besides the point. And I had him on Snapchat. So I went back or whatever, and I was like, when did I add this man on Snapchat? So long story short, I added this man on his birthday. Because you know how they, like, tag people, like, they post pictures and videos or whatever, and they start. Anyways, he got tagged, so I added him on Snapchat. Of course, I thought he was cute. That's why I added him on Snapchat in the first place. So I added him on Snapchat. Didn't think anything of it. Like I said, I was in a committed relationship that was going to last forever back in my high school years. So I just added him on Snapchat. I never texted him. I never, like, I was a loyal girlfriend. On top of the fact that I knew down deep inside it wasn't going to work out, I was still a loyal girlfriend. I wouldn't post a lot on my regular stories, but of course I had private stories. So whenever I would post on my private stories, he would slide up on my stories. He would slide up on both of my stories, private and public. But of course, like I said at the time, I was in a committed relationship. So at this point, man, I would just leave him on open. So the first time that he slid up or whatever, he slid up and I saved his chat, but I didn't reply anything. I don't even know if a react was a thing back in the day. But I just saved his snap or whatnot. We might have started streaks that day that he slid up on my story because at the end of the day, I thought he was cute, but I couldn't text him back because, like I said, I was a loyal girlfriend. And I'm saying we might have started streaks only because we have had streaks since before we started dating, before we started talking, before we started anything like that. So that's the only reason why I'm saying I might have started streaks with him that one time that he slid up on my story. Because he only slid up on my story once. I think he slid up on my story like 2 or 3 times or whatever. So then he was already part of my streaks. I don't exactly remember when. We were already out of high school. I was doing my phlebotomy hours to be able to get certified. So whenever, like how I mentioned before, we had streaks already. So fast forward to whenever I was going into phlebotomy school or whatever, we had already broken up, my serious relationship and I. So when all this was going on, I was, of course, snapping people back, like texting people back. I was just starting to live life again, you know? So, of course, he was already on my streaks, on my streak list. So all I had to do was snap back. There's one day, it was a Friday. No, it wasn't. I don't remember what day it was. I was driving to my clinicals, to my phlebotomy clinicals, or externship hours, whatever. And I seen, like I said, I was already snapping people back. So I had seen that he had snapped me back or whatever. And I was like, who is this? Again, I had streaks with like a lot of people. Like I knew I had streaks with him. So I opened his snap or whatever. And that snap, he had sent me a body picture. Like he was in front of a mirror. So then I was like, who is this? Of course, I went into our chat or whatever. I was like, who's this? So I went all the way to the top of our chats, which there were no chats. There was just saved stories. So then I was like, oh, okay. So he's been trying since like 2022, since I've been in a committed relationship, since we've been in high school. Like, he's been trying to, like, you know, talk to me. So I was like, you know what? Whatever. And I reacted to his snap. So I stood up or whatever, and I reacted with the heart. So then after that, he snapped me back with a "what are you doing, beautiful?" I was like, okay. So whatever. I just started snapping him back. We started snapping back and forth, and this was going on the whole time that I was going to my clinicals. Of course, I was still in school, so I couldn't snap this man like heavy, you know. I was snapping my whole way from my hometown to the town that I had to go do my clinicals at. Of course, I told him, hey, I'm gonna be in school. I don't think that I'm ignoring you. Somewhere along those lines. You know, he's like, whatever, okay, so agreed. So this went on as long as clinicals went on, you know, whatever. So I finished clinicals, I finished school, and we're still talking. So that's how we started snapping. So then time goes by or whatever, and this man just kind of just starts acting dry, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And at the time, like I had mentioned, he wasn't the only man that I was snapping, just because I had just got out of a committed relationship. So I was like, whatever, cool. So whatever, that happened, and we stopped talking. One day we're just back to having streaks with each other, and I'm not gonna lie, he was my favorite little like man at the time. I was like, whatever. But again, it wasn't like super hard feelings. I was just kind of like, man, I really like this man. That happened. Fast forward towards the end of that year. No, fast forward to the beginning of the year, whatever year it was. I can't remember the years, you guys. My friend Karime and I went on a Ruidoso trip. One of the nights we decided to do, I think it was our first night there. Might have been our first or second night. I don't remember. Anyways, one of the nights we decided to do nothing but just have some drinks at the Airbnb and be in the hot tub, just enjoy our view and stuff like that. So that's exactly what we did. So it was already like, you know, towards the end of the night or whatever. We had already had a couple of drinks. So I was already feeling brave. Before we stopped talking or whatever, we would always send a little like heart or like this, half of a heart, right? Throughout the night or whatever. I ended up sending a heart like this. So then I was like, I didn't think anything of it at the time. I was just kind of like, whatever, send it. Girl, I send this man that heart and he saves it. And I didn't know how to feel because we had already had stopped talking for a few months, I want to say. So then he saved it, right? And I was like, okay. I don't even remember if he sent anything back, you guys. Like, I don't remember if he sent like half of a heart back or not. But I do remember that we didn't stop snapping after that. Like, after that night, we didn't stop snapping. And, of course, I was like, man, is it another, like, fill talking stage or whatever? Because, again, like I said, I feel the type of way about this man from, like, the time we stopped talking. He would tell me, he's like, come see me. And I was like, no. Like, I don't want to go see you because I just didn't want to catch feelings where nothing was going to happen. So then I was like, no, I'm not going to go see you. Like, no. I would tell him, yes, I'm going to go see you, but I just would never go. One night, I remember I was at Walmart and I had just left the gym. And he asked me, he's like, are you going to come over or something around those lines? And I was like, yeah, I am after I leave Walmart. Girl, I was like, no, what the heck am I going to go do at his house? Like, I'm not going to go to his house. Like, I'm not going to come over. The whole time I was at Walmart, I was like, am I gonna go? I was like, no, I'm not gonna go. Like, Eva, you're crazy. You're not going. I get in the car, and that's when he texted me. He's like, or he snapped me because he didn't have my phone number. He's like, are you coming? I think I said yes. But I was still going back and forth on going or not. Like, I was still like, am I gonna go? Am I not gonna go? Am I gonna go? So anyways, I ended up saying, like, you know, whatever, what could happen, I'm just gonna go over. So I pull up to his house. I think I already had his address, but I was like, I don't have your address. He sent me his address. I pull up or whatever, and I'm like, I'm here. It was already dark. It was already like 9. It was late. So he comes out or whatever, and he's like, come inside. And I was like, no. Like, one thing that I was not going to do was go inside the house because at the end of the day, like, I didn't know this man, period. So then I was like, no, I'm not going inside or whatever. I told him, I was like, get in the car. And so he looks at me and he didn't say anything. And I seen that he stayed quiet for a little bit. So then I was like, take it or leave it. And I really thought this man was going to walk inside, you guys. I was like, man, this man is going to walk inside. He goes around the car, you guys. He gets in the car and I'm like, oh my God. I didn't expect him to get in the car. I was like, so now what? So anyways, he gets in the car. We start talking. I honestly do not remember, you guys, what we talked about. When I tell you, this man is the man of my dreams, you can imagine how nervous he made me whenever he got in that car. We talked for hours. I mean, hours. My parents even called me. They're like, where are you? It was past midnight. If it wasn't midnight, it was past midnight. I come back the next day after the gym, and we're still having like great conversations, you know. And this was all happening at the end of January, beginning of February. So this was all going on like around that time. So then I come back the next day or whatever, and same thing. We talk. He sits in the car and we talk for hours. This time, my parents are like, "Where is she and who is she with?" Because they didn't know who I was with. They only knew I was out there for whatever, however long. Come Friday, and there we are. And he asked me to hang out that night. Thursday night he asked me to hang out. Friday night, and I said yes. So then Friday comes along. We had said we were gonna go out at certain time or whatever. And I wasn't getting ready because I was like, no, this man is going to be like, well, no, something came up or we're not even going to go. So then I think he texted me. He's like, are you getting ready? Are you ready? And I was like, we're still going? He's like, yeah, we're going. I was like, I'm just making sure we're still going. That was our first date ever. But remember, previous to that, we had already talked. We had already talked the year before that, but then we stopped talking. So then we finally went on our first date. And this was around... It had to have already been February. So we go on our first date. We had no clue what we were going to do. That night, I accidentally meet like half of his family. Because we went to Marshall's. And after that, I think we sat in the car for a little bit. And like, what are we going to do? So at the time, we already knew we were going to go out to the club with his family. At the time, it was only supposed to be, I think, his sister. Or his tia. I don't remember. It was just one of them. But it wasn't like half of the family, you know. So then I was like, all right, whatever. So, but they were barely on their way, so we had time to eat some dinner. So of course Marshall's was right there, and Chick-fil-A was like across the street from there. So we had Chick-fil-A quick and fast because we are gonna go out to the club. So that night I ended up meeting like half of his family because we were all at the club. Like, I didn't know where it was going. I don't think he knew where it was going. I feel like we were just kind of like living the moment. I don't know. We left the club. I went home. He went home. I mean, I wasn't going inside his house at the time period because I wasn't his girlfriend. We repeat the same thing for the next, I want to say the next 2 weeks. So Valentine's comes around or whatever, and he invites me to go to dinner. Again, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what to wear. I don't know. Anyways, I had no expectations whatsoever. We went to Longhorn. We went to Longhorn with his tia and his uncle. And when we were on our way over there, so before that, he stopped to get flowers for his sister. And he also got me flowers. So then he got his sister flowers. He got me flowers. He asked me to be his girlfriend outside of Longhorn, actually. And I was like, yes, I want to be your girlfriend, duh. Honestly, you guys, like, I mean, I never thought I was gonna, for one, be a girlfriend, and two, like, I never thought you were gonna, I was ever gonna be asked out with, like, do you want to be my girlfriend words, especially in person. Like, I did not expect that whatsoever. That's how we met. That's how we started talking. That's why he asked me to be his girlfriend. What a gentleman. This is the look. This is the hair. I don't know what I'm gonna choose for an outfit. So this is what the fit ended up looking like: black shirt, light jeans, and orange sandals.